So hello everyone, my name is Paul. I'm from ReadyForStartups, and today here I have Bogdan from Parking Spotter. Bogdan, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello, I'm Bogdan. I'm from Parking Spotter, and we are a Romanian startup designed to help drivers and then end user find the closest spot to park.
Okay, so you're solving one of the biggest problems in Cluj here as well, finding a parking spot.
Yes, it's a major problem not only in Cluj but in Bucharest and all over the world, because studies show that 30% of the traffic it's done by people trying to find a spot.
So 30% of cars from Cluj are actually going around in circles trying to find a parking spot, is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So, I'm pretty sure you came up with this idea because you had the same problem yourselves, trying to find a parking spot.
Yes, I'm a driver also, and I have a problem. I stayed here in Cluj, and I saw that it's a major problem with parking places.
True. Can you tell me a bit more about your product and what stage it's in right now? I mean, is it something people can use? Is it just an idea? Where are you exactly with the product?
The product released of the first version. It's a commercial version also. It's working. You can find it in Google Play. It's ready to use. Now we are searching for places to implement, public clients or malls or airports or all kind of entities that want to make something else with their parking places.
Okay, I'm gonna come back with a couple of follow-ups here. First of all, you mentioned Google Play. Is
Yes.
it going to be available for iOS as well?
It's in development.
In development.
It's not released yet.
Okay. And second, you mentioned you're looking for places to implement. Can you tell me a bit more about, for example, in Cluj, if you were to pick a few places, like a few examples, which would be a few examples in Cluj where you think your solution could be implemented?
I think in the mall areas is the biggest problem, because I think that the customers want their clients more in the stores and less in the parking areas. So they in the when the day is very crowded and you go there to buy something and you spend 30 minutes in the parking, it gets frustrating, and you tend to buy less because you want to go home and rest.
That's right. It's very tiresome trying to find a parking spot when you're at the mall.
Yes.
Could your solution also work for, like, I'd say the downtown, like, the central areas of the city,
Yes.
like narrow streets, like really old buildings and stuff, like where you can't really, the parking spots are really limited. You can't widen the streets anymore. There's nothing you can do. So people usually go around in circles a lot, or they end up using some kind of the parkings that are built by the city hall here and there. Can it also be implemented there?
Yes, as long as there is a camera, we can install our software, our platform, and it will work.
Okay, so your solution works off the cameras that are taking footage of the actual parking place, right?
Yes.
Okay, I see. Will it also work in underground parkings?
Yes, we have some projects, some tests also in the indoor parkings.
Mm-hmm.
There is maybe a problem because the camera is installed at let's say a low height, and it will see somewhere around 6 to 10 places. So you need to install more cameras to cover the entire parking.
Okay, so we need to make sure that the video coverage of the parking lot is, let's say, well attended to. Does your
Yes.
system also take video like from multiple angles to determine when a place is available, or do you just need one camera in one place? How does it work? Do you need more cameras on the same spot, or just one is enough?
Only one is enough. If you have more cameras, it will be, let's say, better, because you can compare from 2 or 3 angles, because it's a machine learning algorithm and it's not 100% accurate. So if you have more angles, then you can compare and take the right decision.
I see. Okay, you mentioned also machine learning. Can you tell me a bit about, can your system predict like somehow what's going to be available or the load of a parking at a certain time? Like, could I know that if I go to the mall in the next 1 hour, I have an 80% chance of finding an available place, as opposed to if I go in a 1 hour and a half, then my chances will drop by 50%? Could I learn that kind of information from the app?
Not in the moment. It's one of the features that we want to implement. But as long as you have the data for, let's say, 1 year, you can predict any type of situation, because you can see when the parking is more crowded, if it's, I don't know, spring break or something like that. So you know that in that moment it tends to be more crowded. But if you have the data, you can predict anything you want.
Okay, I see. And are you planning on, so I mean on the public side app, let's say, is
Yes.
that available? Is it open to the public audience? Can I install the app right now, and do I have a list of parking places where I can see what the status is, or how does it work at the moment?
As a business for the end user, it's free. For the parking owner, he will he will do the payment, because it's his parking and it's his business.
Could I also reserve a parking spot up front? Could I say spot number 54 is where I'd like to park, and somehow that will not be shown to anyone else using the app, so they would see it as occupied for, let's say, 2 hours or so?
Uh, Here are two scenarios. One scenario is when it's a public parking and you want to go there and park. Um, it will reserve the spot for you, and no other clients in the mobile clients will be able to see it in the app. But when somebody that doesn't use the app parks there, the application will tell you that somebody parked there and it's a new spot available at 20, 20, 30 meters away. The second scenario is for the private parkings with payment. There you can reserve the spot for as long as you want, because you will pay for it and it will be reserved for you.
Sounds really good. Can you tell me a bit more about your, let's say the exposure you've had so far? Like, have you attended any events or conferences like this, maybe, where you've spoken to people, get some kind of validation, see because it sounds really good. I'm wondering why it's not in every parking place in Cluj. So why the hard adoption? Are there any problems that you face that are not, let's say, obvious to the common people?
As a short history, I want to mention that we participated in 2016 at a contest with Milestone. Milestone is a video management system, one of the biggest. It's part of the Canon group. Canon bought the application, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. We attended at the contest, a Kickstarter contest, with our idea. They liked us. We end up in the final 5 contenders. We presented in last year in spring. We presented our solution. We had the mini parking with some cars, and the people there can play with the cars and park and see what happens in the parking. We won that contest, and from there we attend many conferences with Milestone. We also been in the Intersec in Dubai, in Intertraffic in Amsterdam. In June we will be in Munich Security Conference, and in several smart city conference in Romania. We took the prize for OSPA. OSPA is Outstanding Security Performance Award in Bucharest, and we been at I Like IT at ProTV. We presented our solution. They like it. It worked, and from there many events, small or medium,
And like I said, so you seem to have a lot of validation done already. Had been at conferences, spoken to people, and so on. What's your What are your forecasts for Romania, maybe, or what would be your target market? Where are we going to see the product working more and more?
we want to see it everywhere if it's possible because our idea is to have in one app as many spots as you can. We have also projects globally in Australia, in New Zealand, in Argentina, in Europe also. We 2 or 3 days ago I installed a demo for a big parking management company, and we want to see it in more places if it's possible.
Okay, how about Cluj? Any discussions with the city hall or with the malls in Cluj or anything like that?
For Cluj, we are two teams, one in Bucharest and one in Cluj. I'm from Bucharest, and the team from Cluj, I think they have some discussion with the officials, but I don't really know.
Okay, we'll have to follow up on that definitely to
Yes.
make sure it actually happens.
Yes.
Can you tell me a bit? Maybe can you give some names of pilots that you've already done, clients you've tested with?
Yes, so one of the biggest pilots is at Carrefour Brasov. We made a case study with them. We installed a camera at 20 meters high, and it covered up to 80 spots. They liked our solution and they want to implement in the entire parking. This is one of the biggest results so far. We have other projects, but until the talks are closed, we can reveal any names.
How long does it usually take you guys to sign up someone? I mean, let's say I own a parking lot. I mean, how do I reach out? Do I email? Do I call you guys? Do I talk to my, I don't know, person who handles whatever in my parking? How do I get to you? Through the website?
We have a website. It's parking spotters minus parking-spotter.com. We have a form there. We have email, Skype, Facebook. It's
Okay,
easy.
everything.
Phone. It's very easy to reach us.
And how long would it take for you to install your system? Could you just be like, if I have the cameras there, would it be like a day or a week or a month?
Somewhere around a week or two, depending on how large is the parking.
Okay, that sounds good. So you mentioned that you had the pilot with Carrefour. That's like a commercial client, right?
Yes.
So like a company. Are you also looking at are you talking actively to any local authorities, like any towns, cities in Romania who want to start using the product?
Yes, we are talking in the moment with 4 cities in Romania. We have advanced talkings, but in the moment I can't give any names because of the NDA.
Okay, it's too early, I think.
Yes.
Can you tell me also how long have you been working on this? I mean, when did you start working on?
It's been 1.5 years since we are started from the idea and going here.
Okay, and how did it start? I mean, was it at like an event or a hackathon, or people just? I mean, the founders just got together and started building it. What's the story behind?
The founder and we had a background in security, in security integration, and one moment they were installing some ground sensors and some cameras in a parking and a building, and he was looking at the parking and thinking, but we can see 30 spots here. We don't have to break the parking to install a sensor. It's easier to use the camera and do something like that. Because with the sensor it's more difficult. They tend to break, and depending on how frequent that spot it's used, it lasts somewhere around 3 to 5 years. And after that, you have to change it.
Okay.
And also from the need of the driver, that it's very frustrating to drive 20 minutes to find one spot.
That's true. I can vouch to that. So yes, I've seen a bunch of solutions, a bunch of startups that actually do what you just mentioned, install some kind of sensor, some kind of optimized sensor, or out of the box sensor, whatever type of sensor it is. It's still something that you have to put in the ground.
Yes.
And I'm wondering how many others have thought about using cameras. What's your competition?
In Intertraffic in Amsterdam, we saw there are several companies that do something similar to us. So the competition also is not very big, because there are not so many companies that do this. Many companies do video analytic for entire stuff, but not only for parking. So the the companies that are dedicated only for the parking area, it's limited.
Okay, are you going to sell your product, as standalone, or are you thinking about integrating it with some other, I don't know, parking management software or something that's already in the market that parking owners already know and use, or are you just planning on selling it standalone as your solution and that's it?
We are selling as a standalone solution, but we have some APIs that can integrate with any kind of other solution, third-party solutions. So we are open to integrate with any kind of things, with those LCDs in the parking for, let's say, for the indoor. That say on the left you have 30 spots, on the right you have 50. We integrated with those hardware also, and we are very open to work with anybody.
So if we were thinking smart cars, right?
Yes.
Maybe just any smart car that could tap into that API and actually drop me off in front of the mall, and then the car could go circle the parking lot, or at least it wouldn't circle. It would know exactly where to go to park on a spot that's somehow been pre-reserved, or
Yes.
it knows it's available through your API. That's something that's doable, right? As long as
Yes.
somebody builds the smart car that drives itself.
Yes, yes, it's doable.
Okay, that sounds awesome. What are your immediate next steps? What are you planning on? Any kind of immediate plans to launch anything, to release anything? Anything you can disclose at this point?
Yes, we have some new features that we are working on. We want to give the parking owner as much as we can from the parking area. Where cars are going, why are they going there. We also have now a heat map for the parking. So let's say Carrefour will know where is the crowded area, and there he can install any marketing or something like that. We have a plan on 2 or 3 years to develop more features and bring the client a lot of things to use.
Okay, I'd say that pretty much covers what I wanted to ask. If there's anything you'd like to add before we close, please go ahead. Anything else?
No, no.
That's good?
It's
Okay.
good, it's good.
Okay, thanks a lot. It's been great talking to you. Best of luck. I really want to see it happening in Cluj as well.
Thank you.
So I'm going to talk to your colleagues here, see how we can make it a reality, because I don't want to circle the city anymore.
Yes,
Okay?
sure, sure.
Thanks a
sure.
lot.
Thank you.
Great talk.